Liverpool dealt double transfer blow with Divock Origi and Saúl as nightmare trend continues. Media watch: Liverpool had to endure a rough transfer deadline day. Failing to shift Divock Origi and watching Saúl Ñíguez go to Chelsea. The U21s lost too. Welcome to our Liverpool.com Media Watch piece. Maybe not the first, we've definitely done transfer roundups before, and European roundups, so I guess in some ways it's not that new at all. Anyway, we thought we would enter the world of football in a broad and roundabout manner for you and have some fun with some of the stories and captions doing the daily rounds. New deal for Phillips. In the transfer deadline day news all Liverpool fans were crying out for, Nat Phillips has been handed a new long-term contract. The 24-year-old has been linked with a move away throughout the summer. With Burnley and Southampton mentioned, but he is now set to stay at Anfield. While there is no doubt an element of attempted value protection in the deal, it is also only fair to recognise that Phillips did everything that was asked of him and more last season. Without his 20 appearances, Liverpool would not be in this year's Champions League. Whether that makes a renewal the smart move is very much up for debate. But on a personal level it is hard to begrudge the centre-back his new contract. Phillips was the second player to have a contract renewal announced on deadline day, following on from Jordan Henderson. The captain is now tied down until 2025, by which time he will be 35. Loan moves agreed. Contract renewals aside, Liverpool had a very quiet deadline day. One move that did go through was the loan departure of Sheyi Ajo, who will now spend the season at Millwall. The 24-year-old has now been at the club for 7 years, with this being his 7th loan spell in that time. He did enjoy a brief spell in the Liverpool first team in Jurgen Klopp's first season, showcasing some quick feet and direct running. But has failed to significantly build upon that in successive moves away from Anfield. The Millwall switch is Ajo's second championship loan in 2 seasons, following on from Cardiff. There are conflicting reports over the player's contract, but it is believed to run until 2023, if so. A good campaign in the second tier could give Liverpool one final chance to cash in next summer. The other notable transfer to be completed was a loan for Reece Williams, who will be joining Joe in the Championship, specifically, Swansea City. He also followed in the footsteps of Phillips, his unlikely centre-back partner from last season, by penning new terms prior to the move. A temporary departure always seemed like the best outcome for the 20-year-old. But the club could only sanction it once it became apparent that Phillips would not be on the move. Swansea seems like a good, high-level opportunity for Williams, who will be looking to follow the path set by Mark Guehi last season. Youngster Jake Kane has moved on loan to Newport County. Origi still here. Just as significant as the business that did happen on deadline day were the transfers that didn't go through. Most importantly, Divock Origi remains a Liverpool player. There has been talk of selling the Belgian all summer, potentially with an eye on reinvesting the funds. And reusing the non-domestic squad slot, on a new rotation option for the front line. However, no suitable bid was forthcoming, and Klopp will now have to find a way to reintegrate Origi into his plans for the coming season. The 26-year-old has more than his fair share of iconic moments, but the fact is that he has not had any sustained impact for the best part of 2 years. He struggles to have an effect on games off the bench, and is clearly not good enough to warrant a start ahead of any of the established front line. This feels like the biggest failure of the window from Liverpool's perspective. Papa John's Trophy woes continue. A nightmare Liverpool trend continued as the under-21s side fell to a spectacular 4-0 defeat at the hands of Rochdale in the Papa John's Trophy. Liverpool are still yet to win a game in the tournament since agreeing to enter for the first time in 2019-20. The latest defeat goes into the annals alongside a 6-1 thumping by Wigan Athletic and a 5-2 defeat at the hands of Accrington Stanley. There is something to be said for taking the competition seriously. Although Barry Lutis was somewhat hamstrung by a spate of international call-ups for some of his regulars. Even so, it is disheartening to see the young Reds once again on the end of a heavy defeat to lower league opposition. Just to add salt into the wounds of what was a fairly torrid deadline day at Anfield. Much-linked midfielder Saúl Ñíguez did end up making a switch to Chelsea. There were valid reasons against Liverpool making a move, not least the significant wage demands and the desire not to stifle the emergence of Harvey Elliott in midfield, but it still feels worrying to see Saúl move to a title rival. In particular, the fact that Chelsea were able to secure a no-commitments loan deal raises questions as to why Liverpool weren't more involved. Between Elliott, Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago, Naby Keita, Curtis Jones and James Milner, the depth in the middle is still far from awful. Nonetheless, with multiple injury-prone players in that mix as well as 2 under-21 prospects, an extra experienced midfielder would surely not have gone amiss. Liverpool must hope that it is not the difference between silverware and finishing as runners-up.